Yeah, hi. These comments are for Tamta. This is Michael from the 7-Step System to Pass the TOEFL IBT. And I'm going to give you some comments on the practice test 2 that you submitted at my TOEFL membership site. All right, so let's take a look at your essay and see what we have. Okay, so I think your essay will score 3.5 out of 5. So you're probably looking approximately 20 to 22 points out of 30. And here are my suggestions. Paragraph 1, I think the thesis statement, you say, personally, I agree with this statement. I have several reasons to support my view. I think you need a more specific thesis than just I have several reasons. Your reasons are clear. It's you think it can identify, it can make the culture unique. You think there's spiritual value, and there's dance helps people interact. I think you should put those 3 key points in the thesis statement to give you a very sharply focused thesis, so you avoid the predictable, the general thesis statement that everyone uses. You're just following the crowd, doing what everybody else does. You're not showing that you know how to really craft a thesis. Also, your first paragraph, I think, is too short. You need to aim more for 100 words. And then you get to your thesis. So you need to begin with some general statements about the question, and then that narrows down into your thesis. Paragraph 2, you say, first of all, dance helps to identify the country of its origin, and therefore I would change this to makes its culture unique and outstanding. There's too many really vague and unclear words here. You have identify the country, make the culture unique and outstanding. It's really tough for you to develop those ideas because they're unclear. It's like saying, I like the movie because it's excellent. But what do you do after that? I mean, if you say, I like the movie because the special effects were captivating to the audience, now you can prove how you think the special effects were effective in the movie. You have something specific around which you can organize the paragraph. Your topic sentence is unclear at best. Now, your third topic sentence, I think, is much better because it's very specific. You say, secondly, for some cultures, dance has spiritual value. Yes, that's something that is very tangible. You can develop it. You can give details to support it. It's very specific. However, in the body of the paragraph, I don't think you've really successfully defended that point. You say, as I'm aware, in Africa, people perform dance at burial ceremonies because they believe it helps to communicate with their ancestors, and they will look after their dead friend or family member. In this case, dance is an inevitable part in the life of African people. But to me, you have to say something more than that, because you're trying to develop this idea of spiritual value. Spiritual, to me, is connected to maybe religious value. So you have to prove more about the spiritual benefits or values of dance in that particular culture. You might say at the very end there, in this case, dance, it spiritually supports these people because they can connect with their dead or their family members. They can spiritually look after them by praying with them or praying for them after they're dead. Okay, paragraph 4, you say at the end, but it's kind of confusing here. You say at the end, then you say in conclusion. To me, at the end or in the end or finally maybe is a better word. We typically don't use a transition word at the end. But even if you say finally, but then you say in conclusion, it's a little confusing, because they're both signal words that indicate the end of the essay. But really, the end of the essay is not at the end. It's when you say in conclusion. So maybe for paragraph 4, you might say thirdly. Dance is a way for two people, get rid of the comma there, just say to interact and have fun. And then get rid of these 3 words. I think that just say it is a process where people are able to share their emotions. Now, wait a minute here. You just said interact and have fun, right? But now you're talking about sharing emotions. To me, it's kind of a separate idea, and also it's a general idea. It sounds like you're kind of creating two different topic sentences for the paragraph. Then you say, besides, every person needs something that will help them to relax and entertain, and dance serves this role perfectly. Forget about it. There's just too many big ideas in this paragraph, and you haven't really supported any of them with relevant supporting detail. Okay, let's get to your conclusion. You say, even though many people may argue that dance has only entertaining purpose, I believe it unifies people, therefore plays an important role in a culture. Forget about it. No. I think your conclusion, it doesn't really connect, I think, the conclusion back to the other paragraphs. So I don't think your conclusion is very well. You need to restate the key points that you said in those body paragraphs. So I think that you need to really dramatically improve, I think, the organization of your body paragraphs and make sure that the details you use are relevant in helping to defend these topics that you're arguing. So like I said in the beginning, I'm not saying it's a bad paper, but I think you'll probably score around 3.5 out of 5. You're probably looking between 20 and 22 points out of 30 on the TOEFL. Now what you're going to do is, I really recommend this, is I just created this lesson a few weeks ago. It's in both the speaking and the writing lessons. It's called How to Be Coherent in Writing. I can't remember exactly what the lesson number is, but just look at these key words in your 7-step system under the writing step. How to be coherent in writing. And in that lesson, I teach you 4 techniques of how you can make your writing more coherent. And you're not doing this right now, I'll be honest with you. If you start using some of these suggestions, I think, in your essay, your score is going to get higher pretty quickly. So the good news for you is, you actually have pretty good grammar. You're comfortable with vocabulary in English. You're not using a lot of really strange or unnatural type expressions. You sound kind of like a native speaker, I think, in your writing, so that's good. So I think if you improve your organization, I think you can score much higher than what you're scoring right now.